All right. We are live. How do I get in there? I'm like, how do I get in? Got 1,000,000,001 cords.
Just be nice if everything were wireless, right?
Shoot. Yep. All right. We'll make it happen.
Yes, sir.
We are our own engineers today.
Yep.
So it is what it is.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we're live.
Coming live to you from a touch of peace, man.
That's right. You know, I couldn't have thought back in the day I was going to have a studio and I'll be on TV and anyone in the world could see me.
I know it's a wild concept, man. It is wild.
It is.
Yeah.
You know, I would look on TV and I was like, ooh, they must be the luckiest people in the world.
Oh, no.
They get seen by everybody in the world.
Yeah.
But anyone can just
Jump on there now, man.
jump on and
As long as you got a phone, you know.
be a part of the world community. Let everybody in the world see you.
Exactly.
Man, this is amazing, man. I love sharing and the things that we're doing. I really hope that it's hitting one of you guys out there and it's making a difference.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are on our next lesson. And today's topic is what?
Shaping your environment. Yeah.
Man, I love these topics.
I know.
They're just so meaningful. Shaping your environment. So we're talking about Brett, right? He's dealing with depression and anxiety because he's considered himself or he's feeling like a failure.
Right.
And rightfully so, because his company is failing, his relationships are failing, everything in his life seems to be topsy-turvy, and he's trying to correct it.
Right.
What's our icebreaker for today? What's a question that we can ask our audience
Yeah.
to get them to understand this environmental change thing we need?
Yeah. So the first question we could probably ask is, what is one thing in your environment that you have been avoiding to change, but know that you need to change?
One thing in your environment you've been avoiding to change, but you know you need to change.
Yeah.
Man, that is $1 million question. All right, you tell me, what's something in your environment you've been needing to change, but you're avoiding to change?
Yeah, I think something that could help me personally in terms of my environment is watching who I put myself around at times, just because I recently have been around some argumentative people, and I'm not saying that I'm going to cut people out of my life or any of that, but it's more of I need to be aware of the kind of people that I'm willing to converse. So like if I'm looking for a debate, I might want to go to those argumentative people. But if I'm not looking for a debate and I'm just wanting to, just kind of relax and chill and all that, I might want to, invite some other people over that aren't quite as argumentative. So it's more, for me, it's more about assessing my environment and the people in it and their personalities and how that's going to mix with where my headspace is.
I get you. So you want to be more intentional about who you allow to influence you.
Right, yeah.
So who do you allow in that circle of influence that affects how you operate? And that's so important.
Yeah.
So important. Well, for me, I have some habitual routines that I know I need to let go. I need to change. And I'm changing. Like there's one I've been changing for, I would say, the last 5 weeks. I've been getting up every morning and going walking with my wife, Monday through Friday.
Yeah.
and consistently.
Mm-hmm.
That's huge for me, man. And I'm feeling the difference, but it's not anything major. We try to get a mile in a little bit more sometimes. But it has encouraged me to not only walk but also get back into an exercise regimen.
Yeah.
And for a long time, man, I thought I was just not going to ever see another regiment again. For sure. I mean, I'm being honest. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah. But my wife has got me to be consistent there.
Yeah.
But there's still some other habitual habits that I want to break. I know I need to break in order to see the results that I'm looking for to get back to where I want to be in life.
Mm-hmm.
So in the chat, guys, put what are some things that you know you need to change, but you have a hard time changing. We all have them. We're all human. We all have those things that we have to work on. So it's okay to share and let us know.
Right.
All right, so let's get back to Brad. So we changing our environment. We need to change our environments in order to see a change in our emotional state.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Because, what Brett is having a problem with here is he's just refusing to let go of this idea that his job or his company that he established should have. He's refusing to let go of the idea that it was successful, that he wanted it to be successful and it wasn't, and he's still holding on to, well, maybe I just need to start another company and prove that I can be successful whenever I start a company. So his mind's already in looking ahead to what he can do to fix the problem by showing people that he can.
So is that a good thing?
I think sometimes it can be, but if it becomes a toxic thing in your life that you feel the need to prove to everybody around you that you can
it's a cycle.
Yeah, it becomes a cycle. But yeah, for Brett, this seems to be becoming a cycle because he wants to start another company, and he's not taking the time with his family he's not taking this time of being off of work for a little bit to invest in his family and to be with them and have fun.
Well, he can't because the problem still exists. The problem isn't the failed business. The problem is his motive behind having the business.
Yeah.
The need to prove I can be successful, that I'm not inferior, that I'm superior, that I'm good enough, or whatever it is that he's feeling.
Right.
And that is his core problem. And as long as that is his driving force in his environment, he's going to keep making that mistake.
Right.
But it's hard to convince people that what they're doing isn't, or the motive behind why they're doing things isn't helpful.
Right.
Like no one can just go up to Brad and be like, man, stop trying to be successful.
Right. He's gonna look at you crazy
because he's like, what are you talking about? That's everybody's look. Everybody is looking to be successful, and you're trying to tell me not to be successful just because I'm bad at it. You know what I mean? Like, am I supposed to stop being successful because I'm bad? And so, in order to engage that concept, you almost have to look at a whole nother environmental change.
Mm-hmm.
I remember one time I went out of the country. Not the first time I went out of the country, but the first time I went to a whole nother country. So I went to Ukraine.
Wow.
Totally different, right? Totally different,
This wasn't recently though, right?
No. This was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Long time ago.
Yeah,
2003, somewhere around there.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, we just went to war though.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no. I went to Ukraine and I met people from different cultures, like a whole new culture I've never really experienced. And gave me a new concept of life. You know, I was aware of things that I wasn't aware of in my culture, you know, that may be important to other people.
Right.
And to be exposed to different cultural things and what is important to some cultures versus what's important to mine gave me some different perspectives. And I was able to navigate uh, important life journeys because I've had this other exposure. Now, since then, I've had multiple exposures to multiple different cultures. And the more I get exposed, the more I'm noticing that my little corner of the world is not the majority of the
Right.
world. You know what I mean? Like someone told me one time they put a quarter on a table and it said, everything you know is like this quarter compared to the diameter, you know, the dynamic diameter of the table.
Yeah.
Like there's more around you that you don't know than what you do.
Yeah.
And so, you know, if we want to be our best, we have to sometimes adjust our environment.
That's right. Yeah.
We have to adjust our environment. Sometimes we've gotten everything out of our environment that we can get, and it doesn't serve us well anymore. And we need to go explore a different environment.
Absolutely. And even, you know, I'd even say if you can't just jump on a plane and go to another country, I mean, there are places even here in Alabama that you can go and experience other cultures and experience a new scene, right?
Sure, man.
Yeah.
When I used to work for, I don't know if I can drop names, but I used to work for a nonprofit that worked with kids. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
And I was developing programs in different parts of North Alabama. And one area I was able to connect with was Marshall County, which didn't have a lot of youth programs. And I had partnered with one of the judges, and we went to every church
Wow.
in Marshall County. Every church there is.
Everyone.
Everyone.
Wow.
We went to every church there is to talk about the problem of, you know, certain things going on in the community and what they could do about it and mentorship and stuff like that. And man, that alone, you're right. I ran into a lot of different cultures.
Yeah.
Cause we would stay for the church service, right? You know, so some churches there'll be no clapping. You know, and I'll be ready to clap. And the judge like,
might want to hold off.
You want to hold off on that? They don't do clapping in here, you know. And then I have churches, all they do is clap. All they do, the whole service is them dancing and clapping.
Yeah, absolutely.
The whole service dancing and clapping. Then you got services where you know all they doing is everybody read collectively. Then you have services where only the pastor reads. You know, I mean, and so going through all these different cultural things gave me perspectives. I mean, I had appreciation of it. You know, where I might have grew up in a church where all they did was sing and dance. You know, I now can appreciate going to a church where all they do is read from a book together. You know, in unison, on the same, being in one accord. Like, you know how powerful it is to have a call and response reading for the whole service. First of all, you're not going to sleep.
No, you're not.
There's no such thing as a boring sermon because you need to read your part.
Exactly.
And the person beside you is looking. And they usually are small churches, so they know if you ain't reading with them. And then you get those judgmental eyes. Can you read? You know, and so, so you're not going to sleep. But it is a powerful thing, like reading together with a group, you know what I mean? And I've gained an appreciation for it.
You're engaging all your senses too.
For sure. So cultural, environmental changes is needed. So how do we start this process? Like, what does the average person who's been bumping their head over and over again, you know, it's that saying, insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over, but expecting different results. How does the person who has gotten to their end, how do they get to a place where they're able to explore even a different culture?
Yeah. I think first you have to recognize that it will require stepping out of your comfort zone just a little bit. I mean, you don't necessarily have to, go and be totally immersed in the culture, but even to go and observe other culture is going to take you a little bit out of your comfort zone, because you're not really going to know exactly what to do. And I think about a time whenever I was wanting to experience a new culture. I had some friends that were from Saudi Arabia, and they had invited me to come over and eat some kapsa with them, which is basically just a dish that has like rice and lamb, and they burn a lemon and like put it in there and like mix it all up, and it's good, man. But it was a bit of a culture shock to me whenever I showed up at their house, and there were like 10 people there, and they were all sitting in the floor, very communal, right? Sitting on the floor, and they're eating with their right hand. And I'm like, whoa, I've never been somewhere like this, And then they were just like, come sit down with us and eat. And I was just like, okay. So I sat down and just started eating, and you can't eat with that left hand.
Right.
Hand.
No. Hey, no.
And they let you know as soon as you sit down, hey, put your left hand up, just use your right hand. And so it was a culture shock, and I was definitely out of my comfort zone. However, I will say, as a result, it broadened my scope, and it helped me to understand, like you said, that my culture is not all there is.
Right. So sometimes we do have to suspend our indoctrination in our culture that limits us from getting information that is important. Sometimes we won't receive information that's important to us because we've been indoctrinated not to allow anything new to come in.
Right.
And so we have to be bold enough. And I know this is hard for a lot of people because that indoctrination thing is serious. But, you can be indoctrinated like Brett, to think that success is building $1 million business and making $1 million deals, and living, out of your means, because that's how you've been indoctrinated. But when you recognize that, other people have different experiences of success.
Right.
I remember seeing a news clip of this guy. He was a millionaire who worked as a car attendant. His whole life, he was just getting to the retirement stage of working this company where he was he passes you your ticket when you park your car. And they were like, we know that you are a millionaire. Why are you still working this job? And he says, I value success differently. I value money differently. He's like, he said anyone could be wealthy if they value money differently. They let money work for them. I've allowed my money to work for me instead of me working for it. And I've been happy. I don't have to worry about my bills. I don't have to worry about where I'm going to eat, where I'm going to sleep. My family is okay because I don't value, what money can do for me, but how I can use it to, take care of me and give me that security or whatever. And that was it just floored my mind because, I wasn't indoctrinated that way. I ain't gonna lie, I come from a poor environment, man. And, it was different. Money was different. You use money to take care of your immediate needs, you know, and you spend it because it ain't gonna last long.
Right, living paycheck to paycheck.
Live paycheck to paycheck. And so in order to change that, you have to expose yourself to different cultures, different environments.
Yep.
And so exposure for me is key. You got to be willing to go and explore different environments in the aspect of what you're struggling with. So if you're struggling with identity, you know, I'm going to go to cultures where identity is strong. Cultural identity is strong. And I'm going to go to some environments where cultural identity is weak. Like everyone can be a part. You know, like if I was looking for a strong culturally environmental place, I would look at, like, let's say Mexicans or Chinese.
Absolutely, yeah.
Man, you know, you can live in a whole city full of Mexicans and you may see them working, but you don't see them play. You don't see where they're playing at. I'm gonna be honest, like, you know, they got their spots.
Yeah.
You know, they got their community, and they're very culturally connective. Absolutely. You know, they'll be. I got Mexican neighbors, and I promise you, there's at least 20 of them in there. I don't never see them.
Right.
I don't never see them. I don't hear them. You know, they cool. You know, they you know, I know they hard workers. I remember they built something on the back of their house in like 2 weeks that I couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine anyone build it. Yeah. But Chinese I feel the same way. Like, I'm not being insensitive, I hope, but Chinese, same way, culturally, man, they're
very educated.
Very educated, but very ritualistic. You know what I mean? Like very respectful, ceremonial. You know, they have their order in their community,
right?
Versus, let's say, I'm trying to think of a culture that is very, everyone can come in, everyone's welcome. I can't think of any right now, but there are cultures where, you know, all is welcome, nobody's a stranger, everyone's family, you know, and stuff like that. And so pulling the best out of each one of those environments is important. So being exploratory.
Absolutely. Getting curious is what I'm hearing you say. Getting curious about other cultures and things that are different from what you're used to.
What's another one? We'll do one more each. Tool to start exploring, you know, different environments.
Yeah. I think you have to learn to take a posture of learning from another culture too, instead of going in and with a critical attitude. You want to go in with a learning attitude,
non-bias.
What? Yes, right. And we all carry biases with us. You know, it's hard. It's hard to totally get away from that. But I would say, you know, being able to recognize your own biases and put those to the side just for a while to open yourself up to a new experience, I think is key.
I agree. Being careful with biases. And I think for me, one of the last things I think as we talk about changing your environmental changes is you have to be willing to, I don't want to say sacrifice, but at least let go of your normal routine. You know, we have to change our routine up because our routine is to keep us in the environment we normally in.
Right.
But changing your routine will allow you to kind of step outside of your comfort zone and step outside of your normal thought process, and it will challenge you to look at things differently.
Right.
You know, I get stuck in a routine and then I feel like this is my whole world. And then when I step out of it, I realize, man, I've been wasting a lot of time on this routine.
Yeah.
You know, there's so much I could have been doing, so many things I could have been involved in. But I've been wasting, you know, just been focused on doing this normal routine. Come home, eat dinner, look at some TV, maybe do worship with the family, and go to bed.
Yep.
That's it.
Yeah.
When there's so much more to do.
Yeah.
And so, breaking those routines and trying and inputting new routines, I think is key.
Absolutely.
Okay, so with Brett, then what is his first step? What do we tell Brett's first to do first? Do we tell him to let go of the business, suspend the business? Maybe do some soul searching.
I think all that would be beneficial, but I think the first step for Brett is he needs to recognize the successes that he has achieved, even though it didn't work out necessarily the way that he thought it would, but recognize that he has had some successes and that his family is also a big support system for him.
I recognize the success. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Exactly. Yeah.
Don't throw the baby out with the bath. Look at the things that you've done well and lock those in. You may put them on hold while you're exploring, but at least say, okay, I know I'm good with budgeting. I know I'm good with marketing. I know I'm good with seeing my clients have success. I'm terrible at impulse buying. I'm terrible at, I'm terrible at that. But these 3 things I'm good at. I'm gonna put them on the shelf. I'm gonna lock those in because I know that those are my strong points.
And you got to have a foundation to return to say, oh yeah, there are things I'm good at, but I can get better at other things. So that way you don't feel like a total failure.
Right.
Yeah.
I think Brett needs to do some soul searching.
Yeah.
I think Brett needs to get away from his environment, everything for a minute. Sometimes you either do one or 2 steps when you try to problem solve. Either grab everything you can and then move one piece at a time until you find the problem, or remove everything you have and you add one at a time until you find the problem.
Yeah.
Me personally, I'm like, remove everything. Brett, you need to move away from everything temporarily.
Yeah.
And then look at where your problem is.
Right.
By adding one thing at a time. And if that one thing is causing you difficulty, there it is. Let's resolve it, and then we'll slowly get back to a normal life. I remember early in my marriage, finances were really, really tight. And I'm like, man, we got to break this cycle. I'm tired of not having what I need. You know what I mean? Like, we got to break the cycle. And so in order to do that, using that method of getting rid of it all and then adding it slowly back, I told my wife, we're going on spending freeze. Nothing. We ain't celebrating birthdays. We ain't celebrating Christmas. We ain't celebrating Thanksgiving. We ain't going nowhere for Easter. We ain't no special game. We ain't barbecuing. We ain't doing that. We are doing the bare minimums to survive.
Yeah.
We're paying our bills and we're getting food, grocery, gas, like the bare minimum that we need. Because I need to figure out where we're losing money. I need to figure out what we're doing wrong. And I said, for the next year, you let me do this for the next year. By the end of this year, hopefully, we'll never have to do this again. And it was an eye-opener. I was able to pinpoint, okay, here's the problem. But I had to remove everything in order to see it, because sometimes it's emotional too. Sometimes we tell ourselves we got to have things and we can afford it when we can't. We're irrational.
Yeah.
Talking about irrational versus irrational.
Right. Yeah.
All right. One more thing. What else you think Brad needs to do?
Yeah. I think once he gains perspective, I think he also needs to, again, I think he needs to lean, after he gains perspective, he needs to lean into his family a little bit more.
Man, that goes into minds.
Yeah.
He needs to restore what's been broken.
Yeah.
So once he gets it, once he's like, okay, I know why I've been failing. Now he needs to really work doubly hard to fix what's been broken, but also to repair the relationships that got broken along the way.
Yeah.
And so, he may have to put in extra amount of work to regain trust with his wife. But the truth is that if he finds out what the problem is and he is consistent in working it out, then when he sees those results, his wife is going to see it and she's going to eventually believe. Maybe not the first time.
Yeah.
You'd be like, man, I had a great month. Yeah. I've had 2 great months. Okay, it's going to fall. I have 3 great months and I haven't spent a dime. Okay, wait a minute.
It looks like there's some change.
Okay, 5, 6. Really? A year? A year she's forgotten. She's forgotten how tough it was, and she's expecting you to continue to build and grow.
Yeah.
Yeah. The difficult times was a fond memory.
Or maybe not so fond of a memory.
They're gonna see it differently. Like, I saw you working so hard to build a little bit at a time during those building years, and I knew you was gonna build something great. Yeah, right. You were ready to walk out the door. Ready to walk out the door, and all of a sudden I was building. No, you thought I was destroying.
Hey, it's hard to get that. Because hindsight's always 20/20, right?
Mm-hmm.
Always 20/20.
Yeah, I don't know if you've ever saw the movie with Taraji P. Henson. She was married to a guy who was an inventor.
I don't think I've seen it.
I can't think of the name. If you're in the chat, put the name in. I know y'all know, but anyways, so she married this guy who's an inventor. He invented this machine that was to do something really, really great. And eventually, he got it to work and he was trying to sell it. Now, during this process, she believed in him. She poured everything into him. Like she gave him all kind of money. He ended up selling her house to pay for the equipment that he was using. But he could never get it to where someone believed in him. And she lost everything to the point she divorced him. Just so happened, right at that moment, an investor saw him.
Dang.
Yeah, investor got to him, and he ended up making hundreds of millions of dollars on this thing. But it was after she divorced him. Now, when she found out he was successful, all of a sudden she was like, I was the only one that believed in you. I was the only one that cared. I was the only one, which was true.
Right.
But that's not what she was saying when she was divorcing him.
Exactly.
Right. You took advantage of me when I was divorcing. So success speaks 1,000 words. So you want to have success. You want to find what success looks like, because that in and of itself can be healing.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's what Brett really needs to do here. He needs to
win for sure.
He needs to win. And he might also need to redefine what success looks like.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
Because just because you're not, signing off $1 million deal or $100 million deals doesn't mean you're not successful.
Right.
I mean, it could be that at this moment in time that this company bought out Brett's company and he made some kind of a profit off of it. He might just need to count that as a success in and of its own, that the company was even interested to buy him out.
That he got a contract that can keep the lights on. Absolutely. And keep everyone paid.
Yeah.
He may have to respect that he isn't at that place yet, and that he has to put his dues in.
Right. And I think that's where it's important, once you step out of, your immediate surroundings and you get perspective, I think that allows you to reframe your thoughts a lot better.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, if he uses all the tools we done gave him,
Yeah.
man, Brett's gonna be solid.
Yeah.
All right. So as we wrap up, Brett, on this aspect, what's your takeaway? You got one takeaway. I'll get one.
Yeah. I think the takeaway here is one for me. I'd say the takeaway for me is making sure that I'm not staying in the same routines all the time and going to the same old places and the same old rut and things. I think we need to add, or for me, I need to add some spontaneity to my routines, so that way I get out and I experience more and I get better perspective on things.
I think you took mine, but if I was to give another one, it would be understanding that you're going to have to expose yourself to a different culture.
Yeah.
You got to get rid of your biases and your conditioned thought process.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to uncondition it and explore other realities that will allow you to have a good grip on diverse ideas that can ultimately lead you in the right direction. Of course, there's always bad ideas sprinkled in with good ideas, but you got to be confident in yourself to know that you can hear a bad idea, or that you can at least test if something is a bad idea before you move on.
Absolutely.
Okay, man. Another good one. This was dope, important. I hope you guys on the chat really communicate with us. Let us know how you're feeling, if you're learning anything from this, and we'll talk with you soon.
Yeah, sounds good. This was a great talk, and thanks for joining us today in the chat.
All right. Yeah. So since we're our own technicians, go ahead and end the session for me, man.